Hey everyone, welcome to Just Win with Wanda, a podcast designed to highlight people and their game winning passions. Hi everyone, thank you again for joining this new episode of Just Win with Wanda. I'm really excited for our next guest. Her name is Akua Darko, and she happens to be one of my good friends that I met when I was in Philadelphia. She is the Ghanaian boss wedding and event planner based in Philadelphia, but she does domestic as well as international events. And I'm really excited to have her on the show so she can walk us through what it means to be an event planner and to be a boss one at that. So please join me in welcoming Akua Darko. Yay!
Hey, hey, Wanda. Thank you.
Yes. No, thank you so much for, just agreeing to be a part of this podcast. And before we get into the hard questions and the fun questions, I want to take some time to really just give you some praise and let people know a few of your accomplishments. So, Akua Darko has won a number of awards, ladies and gentlemen. So, she has received the Best of Weddings 3 years in a row. She's been nominated for Event Planner of the Year in the Philadelphia area. She has been featured. So this isn't just something she put up on her own social media page. She has been featured on NBC 10, Muna
Mhm.
Lichi Bride, Black Brides 1998, the Philadelphia Magazine, the Wedding Wire, the Knot, Be My Bride Weddings, and so much more. And she plans an average of 28 weddings per year domestically as well as internationally. And I'm really excited to have her because I met Akua in the most random way at the gym, and I had no idea she was a wedding planner until I don't know how we got into it, but I kind of expressed like I was going through my own wedding journey. And, she was someone I could confide in, and she gave me some sound advice about how I could go about planning my own day. So I'm really excited just for her to come on the show and just give us a taste of what it is to what it means to be a wedding planner and to be a good one at that. So thanks, Akua, for being on the show. And if there's anything I missed, feel free to kind of give us a little bit more of a deeper introduction to what you do.
Of course, you forgot to say we have the same birthday. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. We have the same birthday, September 9th. So shout out to all
I
the Virgos
know.
out there.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I actually, when you invited me to come, I was like, oh my God, yes, I get to be on Wanda's podcast. It's a pleasure. And of course, it's I all my achievements are because by God's grace, I should put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful to him for, just how far with everything going on, being a wedding planner in this age and time is not easy. So it's really I attribute that to just him, taking care of this process. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And what I really loved about your bio, when you sent it over to me, was that um, with your unique background, you actually have an MPH in health policy, but you decided
Yeah.
to follow your passion for serving others and helping people. So, what really triggered that pivot to now go into this new industry?
So I actually was working with a friend and I would help her decorate. I actually was on the MD MPH track. So um during one of our, events, she mentioned why don't you consider coordinating, events and then helping out the brides and whatnot. And I was like, no, I'm not a shy person. However, I didn't think it was something I wanted to do. So then I gave it a try when we had another bride who had a wedding coming up, and I was like, okay, I'll help her coordinate, and it just sparked from there. For me, it's just the whole idea of becoming a bride and a groom's best friend and kind of seeing them through the process is what keeps me alive. Because other than the fact that it's a job, it's more of a passion for me. I don't consider it a huge task. And the reason why I felt like I didn't want to do NPH anymore is because I'm relatable. I feel like I'm a personable person. I like to talk to people. I like to interact with people. So this for me was something that I figured I would love doing. I still have the MPH anyway,
Hmm.
when the going gets tough, I might go back that route. But so far it's been a pleasure. It's been amazing. It's been an adventure for me.
That's great. And I think what's beautiful from what you said is that you followed your passions, you were able to identify your strengths, and,
Hmm.
by God's grace, you were able to find a profession that really aligns with the things that you enjoy doing.
Yes.
So, a question that I like to ask my guests is, how do you define passion and how do you define purpose? Do you see any differences between the two, or are they kind of tied into one another?
Personally, I think my passion, and I can speak for everyone, but then my passion and my purpose, I think, ties into one big thing. My, just being able to enjoy the process of it and doing it because I know that there's gonna be a great outcome for me is fulfilling. So, just waking up, enjoying the process, having to attend to or serve as many brides as possible, and then actually loving the fact that it's they've been yearning and praying for these moments is fulfilling enough. So yeah, for me, it ties into one thing. Yeah.
Nice. So here's a question, and I know I went
Hmm.
through the wedding journey last year, so I have a few
Hmm.
tips that I can share myself. Um,
Yes.
but in your opinion, what should brides look for in a wedding planner?
So, I think brides should look for someone who has a sense of humor, who is cheerful, who actually, aside from the main things being professional, having quality experience and whatnot, you need someone who can actually make you smile or break a smile on your wedding day, because the anxiety that comes with getting ready alone on your wedding day is a lot. So you might be very prepared, have all your stuff together. However, if you're under a lot of pressure on your wedding day and you don't have someone who can make you smile, or who can just give you a word, like some words of encouragement to help you get through that process, I think then you are at a loss. Personally, I
Hmm.
think that's a big thing. And also just someone who passionate, like who cares about what they're doing. Some people do it because there might be money in the field. I haven't gotten that part yet. I haven't gotten the financial part of it yet. But I think some people do it because they have the name, whatever. However, if they care about it, you see it. They devote. For me, I devote everything to my brides.
Hmm.
I'm on the floor, like put your shoes on. I don't. It doesn't. It's limitless for me. So you should want someone who is super passionate and actually would a cheerful person, because you need that
Hmm.
on your wedding day. Yes.
Yeah, those are really great tips. And just from your testimonials, I can tell that you are
Hmm.
a all hands on deck
Yeah.
wedding planner. And as you mentioned, that's the type of support that you need on such a
Hmm.
big and memorable day.
Hmm.
So, kind of along the lines of one of your personal goals is to become a bride's best friend or the groomsman's best friend. Um, do you still keep in contact with your former brides?
I do definitely reach out to them. Actually, it's funny because sometimes they do reach out to me more than I do with them. But I do get the messages where it's like, "Hey, Akuya, how you doing? I missed you. Can we go to lunch?" I love those. But um I think I always thought whenever I had new clients, maybe then I would kind of, it will fade away. But no, it's been stronger relationships, stronger bonds. They're the ones who recommend me by word of mouth,
Hmm.
above anything else. So there I still keep in touch with my brides and my grooms. Yes.
That's good. Okay, so my next question is around the 2021 brides or those that are, just really excited to plan their weddings. We know with Christmas and the holidays, lots of people get engaged. It's a very happy
Mhm.
period. So, in your opinion, how far out should you start planning your wedding? Do you think that with the market and everything, it's realistic to, plan a wedding within 6 months? Like, in your professional opinion, what does that timeline look like?
Okay, so you can start planning your wedding even before you get engaged. But let's say you got
No, you're right. I'm sure there's some people that have their Pinterest
Yes,
photos and their boards. They're just waiting for the proposal. You're right.
for the proposal. Yeah, so you can be eyeing everything, but ideally, it depends on the kind of wedding you're going for. With 2021 and COVID times and everything we're dealing with, I think intimate, like the more intimate affairs are becoming a big thing. So with those, it doesn't take a lot of planning. It's just more about having the financials and then making up your mind as far as what you want to do. So if you spoke to a really good planner, they'll tell you, in about 4 months, 5 months, they can plan a really simple wedding for you. Now, when we get into the bigger aspects of, the African kind of weddings, the thousand people weddings, that takes a little bit more time because you're waiting to hear back from people and just hoping they would respond, catering aspect, and it costs a lot. It's not cheap. So, consider your budget, and then if you don't care for the numbers, think about an intimate affair, and that shouldn't take you too long to plan or put together. Yes.
Okay. So you brought up a good point, the budget. And I
Yes.
know that the budget is probably one of the more controversial topics or
Yeah.
conversations that have to be had. So, in your opinion, in addition to budget, what are some other like hot topics or areas of potential contention or things that people should kind of look out for or have more intimate conversations with their spouses as they're preparing for their big day?
So you should talk about your venue. You should talk about your honeymoon. These are things that are people don't consider them. You're definitely going to find a venue. I think everyone kind of thinks, well, if you're getting married, you're definitely going to get a venue, but it's very important to have the conversation of where, because some places may be lavish and beautiful, but it should be able to fit your need, fit what you're looking for. Not just picking it because it's beautiful or you can afford it, but you should talk about your where you want to start building your memories, where you want to look back and say, "Oh my God, I love this place just because of what you did there." Also, the honeymoon part of it. Um, Planning a wedding is exhausting. It's overwhelming, and I think every bride and groom should save money. That should be one of the first things you consider towards a honeymoon. It doesn't have to be, and I know a lot of people say this. It doesn't have to be like out of the country. Just a time away after the wedding, if you have that, if you don't have to go right back to work or something like that. But right after the wedding, consider the honeymoon aspect. You need to get away from everything. You need to go away from your family because you've put so much work into it. So talk about the honeymoon. Another thing I think people should always consider is their registry. Um, you know, so we don't always expect people to give us gifts, but people are generous. People are
Mhm.
generous, and um, with COVID going on, I've done weddings where the brides are like, we don't want people bringing us, I don't know, plates or whatnot, boxes. So we created a cash fund on our registry where instead of people thinking of ordering plates and whatnot, and we're millennials,
Mhm.
we have some of us have already bought our houses or
Mhm.
already stacked our apartments, so we don't need the extra plates. So create a cash fund, and that could go towards, not even if not even your honeymoon, it could go towards your bills and breaking some costs that you had already incurred. So yeah, those are three main things I think is really important in addition to the budget.
Nice. And just to add some of my personal details, so we had a cash fund, and what was nice, we're not sponsored by the Knot. This podcast is not sponsored by the Knot, but maybe if they're
No.
interested, I'd welcome it. But for our cash fund, we were able to categorize it so you could have your honeymoon, you could do
Hmm.
home appliances, your first
Hmm.
home, things like that. So I agree, just
Yeah.
for millennials or people that are a little bit more established or have the things that they may need, having that flexibility with cash funds is helpful.
Yes.
So another question that I know people would love to hear is in your opinion, I know you've been doing this for a while. What has been your most unique wedding that you've planned so far? And hopefully your brides won't get upset. I'm sure all of the weddings that you've planned have been very unique and special. But if you had to choose one, what would it be?
Wanda, this is gonna be tough. I yeah, let me just put this out there. If there's any bride, all my weddings are unique. All my one that definitely stands out was a wedding where the bride, the dad of the bride passed, and she had a wish to be, above all things, that he would walk her down the aisle. And she thought she was going to walk the aisle alone because her brother was also in the military. So there was no way he was going to come home. And,
Hmm.
he, we were at the wedding. We all knew that there was no way he was going to come. Apparently, he had made arrangements and he showed up at these stories sometimes are like, okay, doesn't sound right. But then he showed up, and he wasn't in a tux or anything, but the groom knew about it, so he
Wow.
actually took care of it for her. And the whole night, this bride was beyond, like, she was ecstatic. Her dad was not there, but just having
Hmm.
her brother, doing the first dance, I mean, her father daughter dance, her brother stepped in, walked her down the
Hmm.
aisle, and you could see the audience, the impact her dad had had on her so many years. So that was one of the weddings that stood out, because it kind of shows how important our parents are, are
Hmm.
to us. It's for Africans, or let me say for Ghanaians. I know Nigerians too are big on this, but we when it comes to, and having our parents as part of the wedding, aside from the fact that sometimes they're helping us pay, it's also they're enjoying the process. They're like, my daughter's getting married. They are just excited
Hmm.
beyond everything that their children are doing this. So for her, not having her dad there, but having her brother there to do, be play the dad part, was was satisfying, and it was really touching. So yeah, that was one of my my special weddings. Let me
Hmm.
put it that way. Yes,
No, that's definitely a beautiful story, and I'm
yeah,
sure that's a moment in time that she will always remember, and the
always.
guests will always remember. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
beautiful.
We all end up
Okay,
crying. Like, we cried a couple times. We're just like, oh my gosh,
I
yes.
can't
But
believe it happened.
exactly, we didn't
Yeah.
expect it. Yes, so. Mhm.
So on the flip side, what has been the
Mhm.
craziest thing that has happened during a wedding that you've planned?
Oh man, I had a wedding in New York where,
Of
um,
course, New York.
of course, New York. We were at the hotel, getting ready, and this was a couple years ago, so maybe probably things were not as they are now. But the bride was getting ready, and the girls were getting ready in the same. This is why, after this incident, whenever I tell my brides to book rooms for their bridal party, I'm like, please make sure you book two different rooms for you and your bridal party, and get ready in separate rooms. So the ladies are getting ready, the bride is also getting ready, and with the heat and everything going on, the fire, I mean, the sprinkler goes off. Her dress is laying on, like, literally on the bed, and my instinct was just grab the dresses for all the brides and the bridesmaids, grab them and just run out. Didn't look back to check out the bride and how she's doing. Like, I saved the dress, and I'm like, where's the bride? But everything going off, water coming everywhere. It was pretty crazy. So that was that. The wedding did happen. The dresses didn't get
Okay.
ruined or anything. The wedding did happen, but it took a little longer than we thought, because we had to get everyone ready, again. But the dresses were saved, Wanda. The dresses were saved. Yes.
And that is the most important thing. We were able to
Yes.
save the dress.
Can you imagine someone's dress getting wet on her
Wow.
wedding day? Yeah, it would have been rough.
Wow. So I was not expecting you to share that story. So you have exceeded my expectations in terms of craziness. But yeah, so viewers, Make sure nothing crazy is going on in your hotel room, and
Yes.
always remember to save your dress or have a wedding planner
Save
that's
the
willing
dress
to grab your dresses and run.
and run.
So, with that situation, very high pressure situation, you have to
Yes.
think on the spot. And I'm sure you've had some other, similar high anxiety moments. What's your
Mhm.
secret for staying calm under pressure? I know this is a question that most interviewers would ask, like, how do you act under pressure? And I feel like as a wedding planner, it's a very practical question. So, in your
Yes.
opinion, like, how do you handle everything?
I smile. I we might be running late and then the bride is like, Akuya, we on time. I'm like, yes, we are. We're doing great. And I might be like under the highest pressure or whatever. I take it out on my significant other. He gets I go back and I'm like, ah! But when I'm in the moment, I think about it as what could be the worst that could happen. It's happening, whatever situation it is, we're gonna get over the hurdle. I don't let the brides know what's going on. I always deal with it and then kind of show them the positive aspect of it. So
Hmm.
under pressure, I'm smiling. Whenever I'm under pressure, I will be smiling. Yes.
That's good. I like that. Okay, so one more question and then we'll get to the
Yes.
fun part. So for those that are aspiring to be a wedding planner or an event planner or even like a coordinator, what tips do you have for those individuals?
Um, this is not for the faint at heart. It's not. You're not a doctor, but you kind of are. You have the lives of people in your hands on their biggest days, and they look to you for a flawless event. They look to you for perfection. They might know at the back of their head everything, and it won't be perfect, but um they have expectations that they lay out for you. So if you want to do this, you just need to know your strength. You should know exactly why, not just because someone is doing it and it looks good to you. I think there should be a bigger why as to why you're doing it. And if you decide to do it, get talk to someone who is in the field and get a feel of, you know them. Talk to them and see what makes them, thrive in what they're doing, because it's not easy. Being a wedding planner is not easy. And think about having a year where I had like 42 brides back to back to back. So you have 42 brides. You have to think of how different every bride is, different needs they have, having different portfolios for them, being able to have one focus at all times. So if you cannot, bear to handle a bride who is irate or texting you every 5 seconds, like for things you answered 20 minutes ago, then this is not for you. It really is not. So just know your strengths and talk to someone in the talk to an expert. Talk to me. Yes.
That's good advice. I think mentorship, no matter what
Yes.
profession that you're looking to get into, is necessary,
Yes.
because I feel like your job looks like an iceberg, right? Like you only see a
Hmm.
little bit of what you do and it may look
It's a tip.
glamorous, but there's so much work that you put into it. So,
Hmm.
like you mentioned, do your research, seek advice, seek mentorship, and hope for the best.
Yes.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. All right, Akuya. So, this is the fun part of the podcast.
Uh-oh.
So this is a little game. It's a rapid
Uh-huh.
fire this or that questionnaire. So you're supposed to respond with your first instinct. So this is not something you have to think about. It's gonna
Okay.
be really quick. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, cool. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Get up early or sleep in?
Sleep in.
Summer wedding or winter wedding?
Summer wedding.
Big wedding or intimate wedding?
Intimate wedding.
Beach vacation, city vacation?
Beach vacation.
And this is the most important question, so don't get this wrong. Nigerian jollof or Ghanaian jollof?
I knew that was coming. So please. Ghanaian jollof it is. Thank you.
Okay, so we can go ahead and wrap up this conversation real quick. No, I'm just kidding. I expected you to answer that way. It's okay. But it's all love at the end of the day.
Yes, yes. You know I love you.
Yeah, yeah. I love you too. So again, thank you so much for, just coming on this podcast. I learned so much from you, and I'm so excited to see all the great things that, God has in store for you in 2021. Despite COVID, you still were able to do such a tremendous job with all of your brides, whether they had to, scale down to a more intimate setting or were able to still maintain some of the elements of what they planned originally. I think you handled it so well, and I'm so excited to see, again, like I mentioned, just excited to see you grow and your business grow. So before we kind of wrap things up, I do want to just remind the viewers like how to get in contact with you if they're interested in booking you for their upcoming wedding or upcoming event.
Yes.
So just let us know, the name of your business and how they can contact you.
So my business name is Phuliffects Events. You can contact me via Instagram, um, email at hello@phuliffectsevents.com. It's spelled PHULIFFECTS.com. And I just have to say this little part. I'm thankful for Wanda. I'm thankful for you. You are, we're not best friends or anything, but it's just we can, just doing this and having people, speaking to people, interviewing people is a blessing. So I'm thankful for you. You are awesome. Thank you.
Oh,
So
thanks
yeah,
so
if you and
much.
if you're looking for me, just hit up Wanda. She'll direct you to me.
I would definitely refer you guys over to my friend. I've
Yes,
already done it so far, and I'm excited
yes.
to continue to do it. I think it's important that we all support one another, especially given the climate. We all need one another. So thank you again for coming to this podcast, and I hope you have a
Thank
great new
you.
year.
You too. You too. Let's do this again sometime.
Yes,
Thank you,
definitely.
Wanda.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Just Win with Wanda. If you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends or family members who may be interested in event planning or wedding planning. If you would like to reach out to me, as always, follow me on Instagram at Just Win with Wanda. Catch you next week. Bye.